And that was a long bombed drive. So guys, 3 top tips you need to have in your driving game to make sure you're getting the most out of this big stick. So what are those 3 tips? Well, let's have a look and see what they are. So if this is one of your first videos, guys, do remember, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos to help you become a better golfer. And who doesn't want that? So today, these top 3 tips that we're looking at. Now, if we can apply these 3 things into our driving game, we should see that we start to hit a lot more fairways and also start to get some nice long drives out there, because there is nothing better than standing on one of the tees in front of your pals and absolutely crushing a drive straight down the middle. It's such a great feeling. So we need to do 3 things to do that. So these 3 things that we're going to be looking at are: number 1, the strike; number 2, the speed; and number 3, the launch of the driver. So first things first, if we're looking at the strike of our driver, as we all know, or hopefully if we don't know anyway, each driver has what we call roll and bulge on the face. So it rolls and it bulges, and that is to help us if we don't quite get a centered strike. If it comes out of the toe or if it comes out of the heel, it's designed to then move back towards our target. And the thing as well though is, if we do get the toe or the heel or too much of the bottom or too much of the top of the driver, what actually happens is we lose a lot of ball speed, because it's not come out of the sweet spot of the club. It's not going to be traveling as far. It's not going to come out quick off the face. It comes off a little bit slower because the club's adjusting through impact to try and get it back towards that target. So it's crucial that we start to get very, very close towards that sweet spot. And a lot of the drivers now, if you see them, they'll have like grooves on the face or little dots and things like that, and there's sort of a segment through the middle that we want to try and get the ball in each time. So if we can try and do that, we will see better ball speeds from these strikes. So how are we going to do that? Well, one of the things I tend to see from my lessons is they can stand to the golf ball quite well. They can create a good posture, but then they start to lose the posture. They lose the angles throughout the swing, trying to hit it hard and trying to get the most out of it. And one big link to centeredness of strike is how we actually maintain our posture through our backswing and downswing into impact. So what I want us to do as our first tip to make sure we're getting this centered strike all the time, we're going to take our setup and try and note, if you can get some spray on the face as well, you'll start to notice whether you are a little bit heely, a little bit toey, or a little bit out of the middle. Whichever one it is, you want to try and find your tendency. And it might be the fact that you stood a little bit too close and you keep heeling the golf ball. It might be that you're stood a little bit far away and you're getting the toe of the driver, or you've got it good, but then as you start to actually swing, we see that you're moving into your toes and causing a missed strike. You're moving into your heels and pulling the driver away, again causing another missed strike. So what I want us to do, and it's sort of a start from the end and go back to the start, if we can create a good setup and good posture, we've got some good dynamic balance in here now. What we want to see is that we can maintain it and get into a solid follow through as we finish. So if I were to hit one here, all I'm going to try and do on this swing is get into a good follow through position. So my aim is to create a good setup, and I'm only thinking now about holding my finish nice into a good balanced finish. And there, that one for me, fractionally out of the heel, but it has gone pretty much the whole distance. It's carried a good 265 there for me, which, you know, is a solid hit if we could get up to that all the time. If I were to then fall out of that follow through, more likely I would have got towards the heel a little bit more, because I would have been out of posture and trying to get myself balanced instead of trying to get the middle of the club back onto the ball. So number one, make sure when you are making your swings, you're going to be going into that balance follow through. That is key to make sure we're getting the middle of the driver. And like I say, if you can get a bit of spray, a bit of chalk on there, and just try to notice where your most common strike is. Okay, so tip number 2, we're looking at speed. Now, if you watched the Masters this weekend, guys like Brooks Koepka, DJ, Rory, even Tiger was pretty long, you know, they were killing the ball. They were making some serious numbers up on those carry distances, and they were absolutely flushing it. And one thing that, you know, you should have taken away from that was how athletic and how turned they were through their backswing. And what I mean to that is, if I am now hitting my ball out here, we're on a slight angle here, but what I'm trying to do in my backswing to create the most speed is give myself the biggest wind up I can and create the biggest arc in my backswing to allow me to get the most club head speed. Because if I stand here and don't really create any upper body turn against the lower body, and I don't let my hands get very far away from my swing center, that being my chest, I'm not going to create a big arc, I'm not going to create any big movements, and that's about as far as I can hit it. I'm not going to generate any speed. So what we want to be doing when we are trying to look for this second one to hit these long and straight drives, we want to now feel, if we focus on our back, and obviously levels of flexibility take part here, I want you to try and keep your hands as far away so you feel really stretched in your lead arm. I want to feel stretched in my lead arm and make the biggest turn I can in my back. So here now, I've got my back totally to target. I've created this big 90-degree turn of the back and 45 of the hips, what we call the X Factor stretch. I want to be feeling that I've created this big turn. So now I've got a really big wide arc and I can create maximum speed down into the impact zone. So we've got number 1 where we're trying to keep our balance and go into a big follow through to get that centered strike. Then we've got number 2 here now where I want you to have some practice swings, feel that you're keeping that back fully turned to target, making a big turn there, and we should see that we can add a little bit more speed in. So nice balance setup, and I'm going to hold that into my follow through, and I'm going to make a full big turn away from the ball and a nice wide arc. Oh, I've munched that one. That was ripped. Woo. Again, pretty much a little bit closer towards centre. Fractionally heel it, I do generally heel it anyway, but great drive for me. It was straight down the middle, big turn, felt quick, and I went into the great balance at the end. So key number 3, what do we need to do to top this all off? How are we going to launch it? Because what you'll notice as well, if you were watching the Masters at the weekend, the guys were hitting nice high towering drives, getting the most out of it. When we are hitting driver, we don't want to launch it low because we're not going to get the maximum carry from that. We want to see that it's popped up in the air with not much spin on it, and then it's going to go and cut through the air and land down on the fairway. So big difference here is how we're going to address the golf ball. So in iron setup, we're going to feel quite level because we're trying to hit down on the golf ball. We're trying to take ball, then turf with the iron because of the loft on the club and the grooves on it. We're going to hit down to get it launching up. With driver, mine here's only got 10.5 degrees on it, so I need to get up on it a little bit more. I need to see that my angle of attack is one that is ascending as opposed to descending now. So there's a couple of things we can do. Number 1, we're going to pop the ball a little bit further forward in our stance so we'd have it off our lead heel. Number 2 is how we address it in setup. And one great tip I want to get you to do is once you've taken your posture here, as you can see now, I look quite neutral in my spine angle. What I want you to do once you're in posture is just pop your driver now so it's resting pretty much down the zip here on my jacket. it's resting straight down the middle of my body. So I can see it's neutral, it's where my spine angle is. And all I want to do now is tilt my spine back until that driver head hits my lead leg there. So I've got neutral here, and there you can see my setup. And now if I were to pop it on, tilt my spine angle, I feel a little bit more pressure going to my right foot. And if we look at the difference of those two, what we'll see now is something where my shoulders, my lead shoulder, is pointing up towards the sky a little bit more. So really simple. We've got good setup, nice solid base. My ball would be in the front of my stance, just off my lead heel. I pop the club just resting down my spine angle, tilt it towards my lead leg, like so, and I've now created the angle I need to help me get that upwards attack angle as I go through. So if we couple all these three things together, ball there, tilt it, I'm going to make a big turn, nice wide swing arc, and go into my balance finish. That was the best one I've hit. And I did feel that I was tilted more away there. That was awesome. New Mizuno driver, guys, by the way. Absolutely loving this thing. It's a bomb. So, 3 simple, easy tips that we can all do to make us better drivers of the golf ball. We've got number 1. Make sure you're keeping good balance and good dynamic balance through your golf swing so you can hold it into a good follow through and see that you're getting a consistent strike. Number 2, let's see that you're getting a big turn away, getting a nice wide arc so you can create the maximum speed to get that distance. Then number 3, in setup, let's see we've got that tilt of the upper body away from the target so we can launch the ball up. And if you get all those 3 things combined, you should start to see that you're hitting a lot longer and a lot straighter golf shots. Guys, I hope this video has helped you. If it has, give that like button a big click for me. Also remember, do become a subscriber to the channel. There's loads of free content coming every week to make you a better golfer. I mean, who doesn't want that? As well, make sure you do follow me on my social media platforms. There's loads of other little tips and insights there, what I'm up to in the golfing world. And if you do want to come and see me down at Trafford Golf Centre, hit the links below, get in, let me help you with your game, and I'll see you soon with another video. Ooh, I love you.